Good evening. We welcome you here to the regular meeting of our West Valley City Council. We will call our meeting to order. We note that we have a full quorum present. All members of the council are here. We will begin with our opening ceremony and we'll turn to council. Are we ready?
We'll stop.
We'll pause just for a moment as staff gets a presentation up and ready. There it comes down a little bit closer. You want to go ahead, Councilman Bueller? Okay, we'll turn it down to you.
Thank you, Mayor. There's a lot happening in West Valley City, but not a lot of horrible bad things that you hear about on the news. And watching the news these last several weeks, I'm worried about a little bit about what's happening around the world. I started looking for some some expressions of what we need to do as a nation to be prepared and to protect ourselves and our way of life. And I ran across this little video that I wanted to share. Hopefully the President and those in Congress are watching our meeting tonight and can understand that we need to be proactive and prepared in order to keep up peace in our way of life. So I've asked Mr. Arsenio to just show this video.
Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second. Surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people, he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better rest than death, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shotters around the world? The martyrs of history were not fools. And our honored dead, who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis, didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material complications. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn their spirits, not animals. He said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of men on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
No, I think all wars basically the same, whether it's the war to end all wars or the war since the war to end all wars, the Cold War or the war against terrorism. We need brave men and women that will stand up and protect us, and express my thankfulness for them and for leaders that will stand up and protect our way of life. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Next, we have our special recognitions. I note that we have a scout troop or a group of scouts here. We would invite a representative young man to come forward and tell us their troop number, their schools they attend, and then what they're working on tonight. If you'd come up here to the microphone, we'd appreciate it.
I am Dylan Sayer. I am from Hunter High School. My troop number is 6943. And I am working on the citizenship in the community, so yeah.
Are you all together then?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
And I believe that's the only group here, other than just people visiting for tonight. Approval of minutes then, February 17th to the council.
I move for approval of the minutes.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have the second in place. Any discussion to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. The minutes are approved. Next, we go to our public comment period. And before we start, we had one person who signed up, and I just need to clarify. If you are coming, we will have a special public hearing for public input on application Z-6-2012 from D. Hanson. This is the property on 4100 South. Mr. Wood, are you here to speak on that or something different? I don't know who's Mr. Wood.
Something different.
Okay. If it's not on that, then please come forward, and you have up to 5 minutes.
I'm on the clock. My name is Tom Wood. I actually emailed each of you a short time ago. I run a company called The Good Landlord. I do landlord training classes for 14 cities throughout Utah. My training, however, is not recognized by West Valley City, and I'm hoping to get that changed. I'm not looking to teach classes in West Valley. I'm not looking for any special inclusion on your website, which most other cities have afforded me. What I'm hoping is that my class that I teach for Salt Lake City or South Salt Lake or Clearfield, Logan, Ogden, any other city would simply meet what I feel is a state statute. The state statute 10-1-203.5E says that an exempt landlord means a residential landlord who demonstrates to municipality completion of any live Good Landlord training program offered by any other Utah city that offers a Good Landlord program. In my discussions with your city attorney, their conclusion and their reason for not recognizing my class is that I am not a city. I am an individual with my own company doing my own trainings. And because I'm not a city, they refuse to recognize the training. Now this law I'm very familiar with because I helped draft this law for Representative Gage Frower. At the time I was the president of the Utah Apartment Association. I taught training classes for the Apartment Association. I'm an instructor for the National Apartment Association. I'm a licensed real estate instructor for the state. I've actually taught West Valley City Good Landlord training classes before while I was president of the Apartment Association. The interpretation that was given me was because you're not a city, we won't recognize it. But yet, when cities send out their renewal letters, my classes are what is offered. This is a copy of the city, or Salt Lake City's renewal reminder. This says the Good Landlord class will be held on February 13th in the City and County Building, 451 South State Street, room 326, which is actually the Salt Lake City Council chambers. To register for one of these classes, contact Thomas Wood. In my mind, that sort of meets the definition of a city-sponsored class, when the city is promoting it and marketing it and saying, please come to this training class. But yet, my landlords who have 50 units in Salt Lake City and 5 units in West Valley are told by West Valley, we will not recognize your training. You have to take a Utah Apartment Association training class. That's the only one we will recognize. I've been forced at this point to refund registration fees to 12 different landlords who at the time didn't tell me that they also had rentals in West Valley. They had simply signed up for what they thought was training that would be good anywhere in the state. Now, again, I'm not looking for any special accommodations. I'm simply looking at, would my training class be recognized by West Valley as it is in other cities? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe that was the only individual signed up for public comment. That being the case, we'll go to our city manager. Any comments tonight?
I don't have any tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. Then to the council, any comments? Okay. With that then, we now are to the public hearing portion. This is to accept public input regarding application Z-6-2012 filed by D. Hansen. It's requesting a zone change from Zone A, Agriculture, to C1, Neighborhood Commercial. And this is for property located at approximately between 5500 and 5600 west and 4100 south. And I believe that's the southeast corner, which you're very familiar with, for a zoning change there. So any further introduction or comments on that before we open public input?
Not from us, Mayor.
Okay. Then we will accept public input on the proposed application before us. Is there anyone here to speak to this item?
For or against?
Yeah, for or against. Anyone who wants to comment on this application? Please come forward and state your name and address. And
My name's Russ Dangerfield, and I live at 5517 West, 4100 South. And we also have interest in the property of 5541 West, 4100 South. And I'm for it, but I'm also throwing our hat in the ring for our property to be also changed for zoning for that.
does that include your comments, Mr. Dangerfield? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been to your house. So, clarification, we wouldn't be able to change that application now, is that correct?
No, we'd have to go, and can go through a zoning application process, which we may have already spoken with Mr. Dangerfield, or we may not. We'd be glad to and make consideration for that, given, whatever the overall situation is for the street and the property there, so.
Yeah, because of state requirements. Because of, state law, I think there's a specific process we have to go through.
Yes, that's right. So we couldn't change it tonight. You couldn't include that in the application
So,
before you, but yes, it could be considered.
all right, anyone else? Please come forward, state your name and address.
My name is Mary Ann Turpin, and I'm speaking for my husband Brad Turpin as well as myself. And we live at 5549 West, 4100 South. And we are for it. We have a contract with D. Hansen, with DRH Company, and the contract has been signed since 2012. And we would really like to know where we're going to live. And so it would be nice to be able to finish the contract, which should end in the middle part of April. Thank you.
And I don't see any comments from then. Any other? Come forward.
Hello, I'm Dee Hanson. I thought I would just address, see if there's any question anyone particularly had on this. So I have been working with Brad and Mary Ann, and also with Clyde and Linda Alquist on the properties. And the process we've been through is working with UDOT in coordination with the Mountain View Corridor project that will terminate there. So we've been working diligently with them on their timing, and I met again with their project team, Diane McGuire and Jeremy Christensen, this morning, and have the updated plans. I think we're to the point where we know where the plans will be in the right of way and kind of what will happen there. And so I don't know if there are any particular questions that anyone has on the project or I guess the land use itself, but be happy to address any questions on that.
I don't see, and I should have noted earlier, and sometimes I forget, that we have discussed this in our council meeting last week in our study session, and so there was opportunity there. So, but the council is welcome to raise any comments or questions at this time in this public hearing if they would like. So for our scouts, if it seems like we don't spend a lot of time on it, we have spent a previous council meeting discussing it. So you'll see that on some of these others that come forward. Looks like not. Anyone else from the public? Okay. Seeing no further public comment, I will close the public comment period, and we'll now come back to the council for any action. In fact, we have before us now on this ordinance number 15-09 for the change of zone for that property from Zone A to Zone C1. To the council for comment or action. Councilman Vinson.
I'll go ahead and make a comment and then an action. You know, it's hard to see these homes go. They've been there for many generations, and it's kind of the changing face of the city, and sometimes that's hard, and it's hard for the families, and that's why it makes these so difficult when we do these. But understanding that there's a need, as a new off-ramp will be put in place there, that there's some necessary improvements that need to be made there. That doesn't make it any more easier to uproot these families that have been there for a long time. But with that being said, I'll move for approval of ordinance number 1509.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilman Nordfeld has a second. The motion is before us properly. Any further discussion?
May I take a minute here, and I guess the first thing I want to speak to on this, and there's a couple things, and I'll try not to ramble, is that I want to talk about, just as we're going through a general plan update right now, I want to speak to the success of our previous general plan. To when we updated it several years ago, there was just talk of Mountain View corridors and intersections widening, and the other surrounding three corners were just starting to be developed. And I think the city, as well as the homeowners, the staff, the planning commission, the city council, very wisely at the time recognized the change and the shift. on 4100 South and 5600 West to have a growing demand for commercial properties and commercial areas. And so really to see, 10 years down the road, to see that actually coming to fruition really speaks highly to the foresight of the city staff and the city council to do the best we can to plan out our city and to see it happen. Now, to where it's actually happening, the Councilmember Vincent's actions is, it looked a lot better on plans 10 years ago when we had slated this out to do it and to lose not only a couple of really nice brick homes that are placed on that area, but just also some very great people, and Brad and Mary Ann are two of my more favorite people on this entire planet, and to see their beautiful house that I've spent so much time at go is sad indeed. And I wish I could come up with a couple of good reasons to vote down on this no, but to where this the Mountain View corridor comes in with progress, to where UDOT has made its plans known to take houses regardless anyway, and to where our general plan shows a use of commercial there. There's really no bigger slam dunk of a zone change in my mind that I've ever seen being on the city council. So to where voice support and ultimately vote for it, I'm hopeful and excited to see bigger and better uses come for this, because the changes will be felt and will be missed. So
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, then we'll place it for a vote. All in favor of approving ordinance number 15-09 for changing of a zone from A to C1, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. We'll now consider resolution 15-41 to approve a development agreement with DRH Company for approximately 2.27 acres of property located there at the same location, 4100 South, 5600 West. To the council. Councilman Rushton.
Mayor, seeing as how there will be some major road work going on there, we want to make sure that it looks nice and the landscaping is taken care of. So I would move approval of the development agreement consisting of resolution 15-41.
We have the motion to approve before us. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilman Bueller has the second. Motion is properly before us. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, we'll place it for vote. All in favor of approving resolution number 15-41 to approve a development agreement with DRH Company, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. The resolution is approved. We now go to item 8 on our agenda. These are resolutions starting with 15-42 to adopt West Valley City's 2015 mitigation plan that is required by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And this is one that just needs to be reviewed, approved, if necessary updated, but it's basically the same plan, just reapproved for this coming time period. So with that, to the council, any comments or action?
Mayor, I move for approval of resolution 15-42.
Councilwoman Lang has a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilman Vincent has the second. The motion is properly before us. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll place it for a vote. All in favor of approving resolution 15-42 for the 2015 West Valley City mitigation plan, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. The resolution is approved. We now go to resolution 15-43 to accept a grant of temporary construction easement from MLB Property. This is property located at 2008 South, 3270 West. And these are fairly routine items. It's just a temporary grant to go on their property and to be able to utilize that for work that we're doing there. With that then, to the council for any comment or action.
Mayor, move for approval of Resolution 1543.
Councilman Vincent has the motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second. Councilman Yoon has the second. The motion is properly before us. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll place that motion for a vote. All in favor of approving Resolution 15-43 to accept a grant of temporary construction easement on MLB property management, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. The resolution is approved. We do not have a need for an executive session. With that then, that concludes the work for our regular session. We will hold 2 brief meetings right after this for our redevelopment agency and our housing authority. Those are fairly brief, but they are separate meetings. And so, one last motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passed unanimously. Our regular session is now adjourned.
We call to order the West Valley City Redevelopment Agency meeting. Note that we've had an opening ceremony and a roll call on all in his attendance. Tonight we have the minutes from the February 3rd, 2015 meeting.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of the minutes, February 3rd, 2015.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Any communications from our executive officer or report?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, we are done with our business. Is there a motion for adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Motion adjourned. Meeting adjourned.
Call for the regular meeting of the West Valley City Housing Authority, and we have the finest video we just had. It's great. Thank you for Council Member Steve Bueller. Also, it's a roll call, so everyone is here. And item number 4, we have approval of minutes. This is February 3rd, 2013.
I move for approval of our minutes of the February 3rd meeting. Second.
So we have the motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Okay. Then anyone or any favor for approving this approval of minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item number motion passes unanimously. Item number 5, communication, and number 6, the report of executive director from Mr. Pyle.
Thank you, sir. Have another night.
Okay, thank you. The last motion is from you.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. And please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.